Joining me now. Let's put him on camera, babe. I got to see him smile. Join me now, Sheriff David Clarke. Come on, David. Where's that big old smile? Your Cowboys, man, down 21-0, interceptions, fumbling the football. This game was over. So I laid 3. I'm like, well, I got that win. Now, what else am I going to, what game am I going to, what am I going to do with the money and bet on the Rams game tonight? Because that money was won. In fact, Joe, who's home for Thanksgiving, got home in time for the game, said, hey, this is a blowout. Let's turn this off and put the Raiders game on, see how Sador Sanders is doing. So we turn on the Browns game, and then all of a sudden we see the score flash up, 21-14. We're like, WTF, what's going on? Turn it back. That's got to be, okay. I've seen a lot of comeback. I saw the Heidi game as a child with my father. That was the Oakland game with the Jets, where Oakland was down by 18 with 2 minutes to go or something. That was like fumbles and onside kicks. This was just like they just kicked their ass. They shut them out in the second half, and they fumbled, and they threw an interception in the end zone, and they got stopped on goal in like a half foot, and still won a game. That's got to be the biggest comeback ever for Dallas.
John, there's no joy in Mudville.
Come on, man. What a game that was.
No, 5-5-1, flip-flopping through the season. It was an improbable win. There's no doubt about that. I missed most of it, though. I turned it off at the half. I wasn't going to watch 21-0 slacking. And then when I like you, I was watching another game. I think I was watching the Cardinals play something. And I'm looking up at the left-hand corner of the television set, and they're showing some other game. And I saw 21-7 at half. Then I saw 21-14 in the fourth quarter. Then I saw 21-21, and I said, what the heck's going on here? So I tuned back in. There was a minute left when Prescott led his team down into field goal range. So I saw the last minute of the game with Aubrey kicking the game-winning walk-off field goal. But look, there's still, I think, the 10th seed right now, only 7 get in. Long way to go in terms of just making the playoffs. That's not my goal anyway with this team, to just make the playoffs. That's for average teams. I know a lot of fans get excited about that, just making the playoffs. That's not the standard in Dallas. It's always been higher than that. So big game, the next 2, Kansas City on Thanksgiving, and then the following week they play at Detroit. So, I mean, it's tough sledding. It's all uphill for them. Their playoffs have started, meaning you can't lose, because when you lose, obviously in the playoffs, you're out. So they got to go on like a 6-game winning streak just to make the playoffs. That's why I said there's no joy in Mudville.
I know, but you got to feel good about the. Think about this, right, folks out there that are football fans. And sorry, it's Thanksgiving. We're talking football. We'll get to politics in a minute. So think about this, right? So I'm sitting there with Joe, and we turn on the Raiders Browns.
Yeah.
And Sheriff Clarke sitting there is a Cowboys fan, and he turns on Cardinals like Jacksonville or something. I mean,
that's it.
We're turning on like 2 last place teams, the Cardinals game and the Raiders game, because the game was a blowout. So we, go to NFL ticket that we put on the Raiders game, and you put on the Cardinals game. I mean, you think about how ridiculous that thing was when it was 21-0. But they all season they have no defense. All of a sudden, they shut Philadelphia out for the half of the second quarter, and all the second half they shut them out. In fact, they only had 1 legit drive and missed the field goal. Well, they had the fumble, but then they missed the field goal. And Dallas had they had to have 4 turnovers in that game, and still won it. And I think they go home and beat Kansas City. I saw that Kansas City game. I bet a money line, and so I was not going to lay. I think it went up to 4.5 at game time. So I laid like $1.55 to 100. So I bet him the money line, won that bet, lost it on the Eagles, so it didn't matter. But Kansas City did not look good, and I think you guys. I think they go to Dallas. I think you guys beat them and knock them out of the playoffs.
I don't know, for some odd reason, Dallas doesn't play real well at home. Let's put it this way: they start slow at home. It was 21-0 after the first quarter, John. In the first quarter,
First quarter.
nothing. So the fact that they shut them out the rest of the way, there's some positives here. They did hold them scoreless for 3 quarters. Defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. The defense played defense. This guy they picked up from the Jets, Quinyon Williams is his name. He's a all-pro run stuffing tackle. They can finally stop the run now. At least it looks like it. They have some semblance of a defensive front, although they're playing a little an odd front because most teams go with 2 tackles inside, 2 outside guys, which are your edge rushers. Dallas is playing 3 tackles across the ball and then 2 edge rushers. So they're playing a 5-man front instead of a 4-man front. When you do that, you have to have strong linebacker play. But that 5-man front is allowing them to collapse the line of scrimmage quickly, get to the runner if it's a running play, or, pressure the quarterback to have to throw it quicker than he wants to. So it's a little peculiar. Someone will probably figure this out. Most teams don't do that. So these other teams, the offense doesn't see a 5-man front. Usually if it's a 5-man front, they'll bring a linebacker up on the edge to support or to blitz, but they're playing with just, like I said, 3 defensive tackles, and they got some great defensive tackles. Kenny Clarke, Osigwe, Osa, and then now Quinyon Williams. So, but John, I've come on your program and I'm a realist with everything in life, okay? And including my sports teams, I pull for them. I didn't say that I don't support the Dallas Cowboys anymore. I've been supporting the Cowboys since I'm like 5 years old, for heaven's sakes. My uncle played 10 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys. Frank Clarke, look it up. All pro in 1964. So I'll always be there, but I'm not going to sit up there watching a shellacking. Had the game have been nip and tuck all the way, I would have watched the whole game. I usually do. But when it's a blowout right away like that, I'm not wasting my time.
You put on the Cardinals game. That's a sad state. We put on the Raiders game. You put on the Cardinals game. They're 2 sad state of affairs when you're relegated to that. But look, I mean, they were determined to stop Barkley. They did. I mean, they shut Barkley down, and I expected Hurts with just 6 defensive backs to, light him up like a Christmas tree. Guys weren't open. I mean, it's not like Hurts was missing passes. Guys weren't open, and and he was under pressure the whole game. So we'll see what happens against Kansas City. You got Chris Carter and those guys, but Chiefs didn't look good to me. They just didn't look crisp. I know they won the game. I think it was in overtime. They had to tie it. They were down by 11 with like 6 minutes to go. They were able to tie it, win in overtime. Did not look good to me at home. I think Dallas is gonna win this game. Now let's get to I think I love Dallas at home on Thursday, which is probably your kiss of death, right?
You gotta have a fast start. You can't start down 14-0, 21-0 in the first quarter.
Yeah,
you got to get off quickly. If you receive the kickoff, you got to score on the first drive. That's the kind of thing that's necessary to send a message to the other team. But when you go on your first drive 3 and out, which is what they did.
Yeah.
No, not this past Sunday, but the
most
week
of the time.
Before, 3 and out on the first drive. That's ridiculous.
I tell you what, some of those catches that Pickens made, those are pretty credible. Now, a lot of people in Philadelphia bitching because of the flags, but look, I'm a Titans fan. We draw more penalties than anybody. It doesn't matter. We still suck, right? So you can bitch about the penalties, but at the end of the day, Barkley fumbles. They miss a field goal. They couldn't make the play. The game should have went to overtime. Dak had 2 third downs, got guys open in the seam both times, gotten in field goal range, game over. So, it is what it is. We'll see what the Eagles do after this. All right, let's get to politics. Um, I want your take on the Mandami visit to the White House with Trump.
Political theater, I mean, let's face it. You have to respect the will of the voters, whether they make the right decision or not. In our opinion, whether they make the right decision or not. He's going to be the mayor of America's largest city, New York City. And there are aspects of our system of a republic that require states and the federal governments to work together. I guess the gentlemanly thing to do is to do what President Trump did. So I don't know. I'm not all bent out of shape because he was invited. Mandami was, I call him Man Dummy, was invited to the White House. It's part of, our politics. And it's kind of like after you lose an election where the loser has to call the winner, not by law, but it's the courtesy thing to do and congratulate them on the win. It's the same thing. That's why it's political theater.
Trump wants to take his urban message that he's done in where I live in Washington, D.C., which he's turned us into basically the Disneyland of the North. Completely safe city, safest city in America, cleaned it up in 9 months. Unbelievable metamorphosis since I moved here in December. It's one of the most incredible things, Sheriff, I've ever witnessed in my adult life. The way this city has changed in such a short period of time since I came here for the second time in December on the other side of town. Can he take his urban message nationally? Can that help him win the midterms? Safety, law and order. You can clean these cities up. Is that a potential national message?
Sure, it is. It always is. Public safety, crime, violence, victimization. Look what went on in Chicago over the weekend. In Chicago, by the way, with Mayor Johnson and that goofball Governor Pritzker refused President Trump's help of using federal resources to stem the rising tide of crime in Chicago. They had In the Loop, which is, for folks who've never been to Chicago, it's a retail area. There was a Christmas tree lighting. It's right next to the Magnificent Mile. A lot of tourists visit the Loop. They had a shooting, 8 people shot, 1 dead in the middle, or at the end of the Christmas tree lighting, for heaven's sakes. And then in Chicago, too, a woman on the L, that's their above ground subway station. It's not but it's a rail system, I should say. A woman was doused with flammable liquid and set on fire over the weekend. That kind of stuff. Americans look at that, and I mean, this is untenable. That was on the Chicago L, their rail system, for heaven, public transportation, and these two goofballs, Johnson and Pritzker, sit up there. We don't need their help. We don't want their help. Chicago's a safe city. No, it's not. And John, you know who knows that best? The people who live there. So it could be a great message, but the courts are in the way. The courts just ruled, I think, over the weekend, a judge, when I say the courts, with this judicial activism, that Trump can't use the National Guard in D.C. I mean, every time the president does something, some activist, liberal, hack judge steps in, extrajudicial. If you ask me, it's kind of like what happened in the Comey dismissal. This activism, they step in and they block him. So when you ask, could he take this on the road? How is he going to? Every time he turns around and uses the guard, some federal district judge on his or her own says that he can't do that. Well, yes, he can. And at some point, when this is a decision the president has to make, at some point he's going to have to, tell the courts, I have executive authority in our three branch system of government here, co-equal, by the way, not one with more authority than the other, although the founders did intend for the courts to be the weakest branch in this co-equal. But right now we're being ruled by unelected people in black robes, and that's not what our three system of government is. So the president at some point is going to have to take a stand and say, I'm going to exercise my executive authority under the Constitution, because that's what he'll be doing, and just say this, in my estimation, it is the will of the voters has to matter. We voted for all this. You know that saying, I voted for this. In the end, these judges need to step out of the way unless something is so grossly in violation of the Constitution, which this is not. He deems these areas, a national emergency or a crisis, which is what the law prescribes. If the president sees a crisis or a national emergency, he can act. And when the courts don't let him do that, at some point, the will of the people, because that's being negated here too by these judges. We voted for this guy, and he's doing what he said he was going to do during the campaign. I didn't hear any of these judges during the campaign saying he couldn't do that if he gets elected. So this push has got to come to shove at some point in this thing. Otherwise, go back to your question again, can he carry this around and can it make a difference? Of course it will, because we've seen it. Historic record lows of, not since record, but crime drops in Chicago and Memphis and some of these other cities where he's dispatched federal resources. The violent crime rate drops. Oh, why is anybody surprised? So it can work, but the courts are in the way. How do we, John, here's the question. How do we get the courts out of the way? These are unelected. Yeah, I know that Congress can impeach, but the GOP Congress isn't going to do anything. This is a do-nothing party. But other than that, what do you do with these out-of-control courts?
You got to keep appealing it and get it further up. But you're right.
It takes too long, John.
Well, you look here in Washington, D.C., and the reason why the ruling was stupid is because, first of all, President Trump has total jurisdiction here. Total. So it's going to get overruled. The other thing she did is she gave it 21 days to give him a chance to appeal, because she knew this thing was not going to stand. So it was done for, it said political theater. It was done for her theater, because it's not going to stand. And the other thing is, if you were to just walk down the streets of Washington, D.C. in all 8 wards and just ask the first 500 people you saw on the street whether or not you wanted the National Guard to stay, it would be 490 to 10 yes. 10 people would say, no, I'm uncomfortable with it. Probably people that were going to commit something. Like, I'm on the subway, I'm on the metro yesterday, and it's in the middle of the day, because I was going to meet somebody for lunch. It was like noon. I'm trying to get the time straight. It was like noon. And normally the National Guard is there on my station. Well, they were not yesterday. They, can't go to every place all the time. And so I'm just standing on the platform, and some guy comes over, and there's a lady, probably mid-50s, early 60s, just waiting for the metro. Some guy starts harassing her. I mean, there's nobody there. Yeah. I mean, there's nobody there. And she backs away, and he's asking her for money. And I mean, there's a big guy. And so I just step in, and I'm like, hey, dude, beat it, right? Leave her alone. He asked me for money. I said, hit the road. I'm a big guy. And I told her, hey, I got your back. Don't worry. And she's like, here's what she says. White woman, where's the National Guard when you need them? So they want them there, right? They want them there. The liberals want them there because they're safe. Who doesn't want to be safe? Who wants to see their car carjacked, or their son harassed at the park, or they can't go down this street without fear of getting mugged? Who wants to do that? Anybody that we know?
Well, you would think that the courts, ironically, would be on the side of law and order and public safety, right? They kind of go hand in hand.
Exactly.
But don't. The people don't matter right now in this republic, and that's what's really incensing me, is at every turn, the president was acting on behalf of the American people. He was elected. The judges, federal judges, were not elected to do anything. So they need to be keep their focus narrow on the Constitution and stay out of the politics, because these are political decisions. These decisions coming out of the courts, those aren't legal decisions. Those are political decisions. It's a Clinton judge had dismissed the indictment against Comey and that Letitia James. It was a Clinton judge. It's always a Obama judge, a Biden judge that does this stuff. So, that reeks of politics right there. Somebody's got to get the courts under control. Somebody has to do something about these damn courts. I don't know, maybe the Congress, but again, we got to do nothing Congress, both parties. They're just standing by watching this crap happen.
We just got to
Even
keep.
stuff that
We
they,
got to keep.
even stuff,
We got to keep Republicans winning the presidency so they can continue to appoint conservative judges. I mean, it's going to take a decade, but we got to keep winning. So, look, I agree. I think the urban message should go nationally because I think it's resonating with everybody. I saw it with my own eyes here, and I think we need a MAGA Mandami, somebody running for mayor, one of these cities that's going to bring the same Mandami message of affordability, but with a capitalistic, creative solution and not communism. But I think we should take this nationally.
Well, they did. His name was Rudy Giuliani, and then even
Right.
Mike Bloomberg after that, a little bit. So they had it there, but for the other, the last couple of mayoral elections in New York, they got it wrong. Okay, De Blasio, who was a socialist, by the way, and he undid all of the crime-fighting techniques and strategies that made New York the safest city in America. De Blasio undid them all.
Yeah.
So you got that, and then now you got this goofball now. Adams wasn't much. He wasn't much help. So I don't know. But, elections do have consequences. And I don't live in New York. I don't even visit there anymore.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. So, what are you going to do? I guess I heard something the other day which made sense. You got to make the red states redder, red states, cities redder, the ones that are already red. You got to make them redder, I guess, because this other crap is starting to blossom. This whole Islamist movement. They're running for political office now. They're talking Sharia law and all this other nonsense. This has got to be stopped, and it's got to
Well,
be
we let them in.
aggressively.
We let them all move to the same city. They figured out you'll move to one area, and then you vote your own people in. I mean, you got Trump never asked them this. I didn't get called on, but this is the thing I would have asked them. So, Mr. Mayor-elect, you said you're going to follow international law and not U.S. law in New York City. Well, when do you start the process to secede? Because that's basically what you're saying. You don't want to be part of America. You don't follow our law. When are you going to secede from New York and just start your own country? Because that's basically what it is. Of course, nobody has the balls to ask him that, and I didn't get the opportunity to do that. That would have been my question.
Well, yeah, the reason why the media won't ask him is because they're anti-Trump, for heaven's sakes, and so they're not going to do anything that will assist in terms of Trump's message of America first and MAGA. So all we can do is bide our time, sit back and watch, grab your popcorn and watch New York disintegrate into chaos, poverty, crime, some of these other urban pathologies. Great cities.
It's going to be something. It's going to be a sad state of affairs, and I think that meeting that President Trump had, I think he just set him up to fail. Like, I said I'd help you, but I guess your communist policies just don't work. You'll have to go to Hochul. She's got money, I don't. You're not going to get my bailout, but Hochul will help you. That's basically what he's going to say. So, Sherriff, happy Thanksgiving to you and your lovely wife and your family. And you got to come to Washington, D.C. Got to come out here, the safest city in America, and help me out here, get things done. Come on my show live, and we'll take you to dinner. Sheriff David Clarke, good to have you, David. Go Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. Get your turkey, put the TV on. There's no other games to turn on. So it's the only game on, Sheriff. You'll have to watch it. Cowboys Chiefs, let's go.
Well, I'll watch, but if it's 21-0 after the first quarter, Chiefs, I'm turning it off. Go back and eat some more turkey.
Sheriff Clarke, thanks you can follow Sherriff go to americasheriff.com, americasheriff.com. We're gonna get him here in DC. He's gonna love it. americasheriff.com. He's gonna help me here. No question about it. Next year, just wait. Sheriff, thanks for being with us. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. We'll be right back with your calls. 888-480-JOHN.